Hi guys, welcome to Talking Money with Nozi, personal finance made simple. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to choose ETFs to invest in as a beginner investor. If you don't know what an ETF is, please watch my detailed video about ETFs by clicking this link over here to learn more. But just to summarize, an ETF is like a fruit salad of shares. Instead of just eating an apple or just a banana or just an orange or just some grapes, for example, you could eat a mixture of all these fruits in a fruit salad, right? It's the same concept with ETFs. Instead of buying individual shares like just Vodacom shares or just ShopRite shares or Clicks shares or Capitec shares, you could buy an ETF called the Top 40, which is a fruit salad of shares of the 40 largest companies in South Africa, including Vodacom, ShopRite, Clicks, Capitec, and 36 other South African companies. Also, instead of buying individual shares like Tesla or Apple or Microsoft or McDonald's shares, you could buy an ETF called the S&P 500 ETF, which is a fruit salad of shares of the 500 largest companies in the USA, including Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, McDonald's, and 496 other large American companies. So how do you choose ETFs to buy? Okay guys, so I want to show you how many ETFs we have on the JSE or the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to etfs.easyequities.co.za so that you see how many ETFs we have in total. When this website opens, I click here where it says ETF Finder. And as you can see, here are the total number of ETFs available at the moment, 116 ETFs. Wow, 116 ETFs is quite a lot, ne? So how do you know which ones to buy out of these 116? Well, personally, this is how I would choose ETFs if I was a beginner investor. I would use two criteria to choose my ETFs. The first criteria is choose an ETF that represents most of the shares on your local stock market. In my case, this means I would choose an ETF that represents most of the shares on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, or the JSE for short. And here is how to find such an ETF. Okay guys, to find your ETFs, you're going to easyequities.co.za/finder. I'm going to leave the link to this website in my description so you don't have to worry about that. And now let's start searching for our ETFs. So on our left hand side there's a filter. Under where it says asset class, we're going to choose equity because equity means shares. Remember I said that we are looking for an ETF that represents the most shares on the JSE. That's why we choose equity. Under region, we are going to choose South Africa because we are looking for a local ETF, a South African ETF. Can you see that it drops to 37 already? Just those two criteria. Then under expense ratio, I'm going to slide it down from 1% to 0.5. Okay. The expense ratio, or the TER, is the cost of owning an ETF. The lower the percentage cost, the better. And can you see, we have narrowed down from 116 ETFs to just 23 ETFs. From here, we can eliminate ETFs that don't represent the most shares on the JSE. This would be, for example, an ETF like this one, the Core Shares DivTrax ETF. Why am I saying this? Let me right click where it says learn more and open the link in the new tab so that you see that this ETF is not inclusive but rather very exclusive. It says here in the first paragraph, the aim of this ETF is that the constituents of this index have followed a policy of increasing or maintaining stable dividends for 5 consecutive years. So this ETF is exclusive. It is focused only on companies that have maintained stable dividends for the last 5 years or more. So that excludes a whole other range of shares that don't fit this criteria. So that removes div tracks. So using the same method, we're also going to remove New Funds S&P Givi SA Top 50 because it's also exclusive with its own criteria. New Funds Sharia Top 40 also exclusive with its own criteria. New Funds Defensive Equity is out as well. Satrix Divi Plus is out. Satrix Fini 15 is out. Satrix Inclusion and Diversity is out. Satrix Indie 25 is out. Satrix Momentum ETF is out. Satrix Quality South Africa is out. Satrix Resi is out. This one we've already mentioned, it's out. This one we've already mentioned, it's out as well. Defensive Equity is out. So after eliminating all those ETFs, that leaves only 9 ETFs, and that would be Signia Top 40, Signia Swix Top 40, Satrix Swix Top 40, Satrix Top 40, Satrix Capped All Share, FNB Top 40 or First Rand Top 40, Core Shares Top 50 or 10X Top 50, One Invest Top 40, and One Invest Swix 40. Now, I wouldn't buy any of the ETFs written Swix. The reason is because of this. I'm going to show you an article that explains what Swix ETFs are all about. So I'm just going to type on Google Swix ETFs, and I want to open this Just One Lab article, which was written in 2019, so that you understand what a Swix ETF is. What does Swix stand for? It stands for Shareholder Weighted Index. So it says shareholder weighted index trackers are weighted by ordinary shares held in the South African share register. Shares in these blue chip companies held by other companies don't form part of the weighting of the index, neither do shares held by offshore investors. And so by eliminating the Swix ETF, we are now only left with One Invest Top 40, Core Shares Top 50, FNB Top 40, Satrix Top 40, Satrix Capped All Share, and lastly, Signia Top 40. From there, you can choose what you want to buy. And guys, the top 40 ETFs are all the same. They are basically baskets of the 40 largest companies on the JSE. Core Shares Top 50, this one, instead of being 40 shares, it's 50 shares. And then Satrix Capped All Share, that one is a basket of 139 shares of the largest, medium-sized, as well as the smallest shares on the JSE. At this point, you can buy any of these ETFs and you will be fine. But if you really want to be OCD about it, you can go for the one with the lowest cost or the lowest TER. So let's compare the first 3 ETFs. So what you do is you go to the top right hand corner of the ETFs that you want to compare and tick the box. So let's tick One Invest Top 40, tick Core Shares Top 50, and select FNB Top 40. Then click on this red button that says Compare ETFs, and what it does is this will compare the ETFs side by side. Okay, you scroll down and here is the TER. These are costs per annum. So you can see that the One Invest Top 40 charges a cost of 0.29%. Core Shares Top 50 is 0.24%. FNB Top 40 is 0.13%. So of these 3, the FNB Top 40 is the cheapest one. So you can note that down. Let's check the remaining ETFs for their cost as well. So we come back here. It has reset itself. Let's push down the TER to 0.5 again so that the filter can go back to what it was. Next, we unselect these ones. We've already compared these 3, and we select the next 3, which would be Satrix 40, Satrix Capped All Share, and lastly, Signia Top 40. And then hit compare. So here are the 3 ETFs side by side. If you go down to TER, which is the cost, Satrix 40 is 0.1%. This one says not available. We're going to use another website to check for that. And lastly, Signia Top 40 is 0.22%. So I want to check for the TER of Satrix Capped All Share. So I'm going to go to this website called ETFsa.co.za. It has got all the ETFs, including their TERs as well. So this column is TER, or the cost, right? So we look for Satrix Capped All Share. This one, the TER is 0.15%. 8%. So going back to our comparison, you can see that Satrix 40 is the cheapest of the three. But like I said, you can choose any of these ETFs and you'll still be fine, guys. Personally, in my tax-free savings account, I invest in Satrix 40. But in my normal taxable account where I pay taxes, I invest in the Satrix Capped All Share Index. Okay, phew. Now that we are done with criteria 1, let's move on to the second criteria. The second criteria is to choose an ETF that represents most of the shares from the entire world market. This means I want an ETF with shares from North and South America, shares from Europe, shares from Africa, shares from Asia, shares from the Middle East, right? That's the whole world, basically. Let's go and find such an ETF or such ETFs if they exist. Okay guys, so back to our ETF finder. I'm just going to reset filter so that it goes back to default settings, right? Again, remember there are currently 116 ETFs on the JSE, but now we are looking for an ETF that represents most of the shares from the entire world market. So here under asset class, we're going to choose equity. Equity means shares. And then under region, we're going to choose global because we are looking for ETFs from all over the world, not just one particular place. And you can see it's already cut us down to 18 ETFs available. And then lastly, I'm just going to go here where it says expense ratio. Again, I like to keep the expense ratio less than or up to 0.5. And the total number of ETFs that fit this criteria is only 15. So our job has been made easier by just using the filter. Now from there, we can start eliminating ETFs that don't match our criteria. We are going to eliminate ETFs that are thematic, those ETFs that are exclusive and that do not include the wider universe of shares. So based on that, we're going to remove this one, the MSCI World Socially Responsible Investment Index Feeder. Why am I saying that? Here where it says learn more, let's click on that, open link in new tab and read what it's all about. You'll see why immediately. Let's download the fact sheet. Okay, you can see here in this area highlighted orange. One Invest is delighted to introduce our newest ETF. This exciting addition to our global range of ETFs provides exposure and access to global markets through companies with outstanding environmental, social, and governance ESG ratings and minimal socio-political controversies. So this is more of a politically based theme kind of ETF, which focuses only on companies that meet environmental standards and social and governance structures, etc. So I would not select this one. Another one that I wouldn't select is the global infrastructure. You can even see what the name is saying. It is an infrastructure ETF. It excludes also the healthcare innovation because already self-explanatory just from reading the name. Also Satrix MSCI Emerging Markets ESG. Whenever you see that ESG, it's that environmental, social governance. It's excluded in my books, that is. Also this one, MSCI World ESG, that will be excluded. Smart City, that would be excluded. FANG, also excluded. S&P Global 1200 ESG, excluded. Solar Active Healthcare, excluded as well because it's a healthcare ETF. So that makes it very easy. I'm also going to eliminate this one because although this one is not entirely exclusive, it just has 50 shares from developing countries. So I'll leave this one out for now. So what are these ETFs that are left? The One Invest MSCI World Index ETF is a basket of 1,519 shares from 23 developed countries only. Core shares or 10x Total World ETF is a basket of more than 10,000 shares from 49 developing and developed countries. F&B Global 1200 ETF is a basket of 1,219 shares from 30 developing and developed countries. Then we have Satrix MSCI Emerging Markets, which is a basket of 3,188 shares from developing countries like China, India, Taiwan, South Korea, Brazil, South Africa, etc. Then we have Satrix MSCI World ETF, which is a basket of 1,513 shares from 23 developed countries only. So from these 5, you could choose to buy the core shares or the 10x Total World ETF, and you'll be fine because this one ETF is very, very broad and covers a huge number of shares from both the developed world as well as the developing parts of the world. Or you could choose the F&B Global 1200 ETF because it also covers both the developed and developing parts of the world, although the shares are just only 1,219, but 1,219 shares is not a small number. So literally you could just choose this one or this one and you're done. Or if you like, you could have a combination of, for example, Satrix MSCI Emerging Markets and Satrix MSCI World. You could buy these two because Satrix MSCI World covers developed countries, while the MSCI Emerging Markets is covering the developing countries. By buying these two together, you are exposing yourself to the entire world markets. So that's it. In my tax-free savings account, I have both of these. I've got Total World and I've got F&B Global 1200. It is not necessary to have both. The reason why I have both is because when I started investing in 2017, Core Shares Total World did not exist. It was only this one. So that was the only choice I had. So I bought it. Then when Core Shares Total World was launched, I think it was 2021, I also started adding it as well. So that's why I've got both. But if you are a new investor, you do not need both. Choose one and stick to that one. In my normal account, which is taxable, I've got Satrix MSCI World and Satrix MSCI Emerging Markets. And through these two, I'm investing in the entire universe of shares from all over the world. And that's it, guys. That's how you choose ETFs to invest in. And this principle of choosing applies to any investor living in any part of the world. If you want to invest in other ETFs, you can go ahead. But you should have one ETF that represents the most shares from your own country and another ETF that represents the most shares from both developed and developing countries as your foundation, because that means you are investing in the entire universe of shares. Nothing is missing. Now, here's a common question that I get. When is the best time to invest? And here's my answer, guys. The best time to invest is all the time. There is no perfect time for investing. Just invest your money every time you receive your salary, or every time you receive business income, or whenever you get your allowance if you are a student. Don't try to wait for the perfect time to invest. Nobody can get the timing right. And you could lose a lot of money if you just wait by the sidelines, waiting for a perfect day that will never come. Just keep investing regularly. To make it easy to invest every single month, you can set up a debit order, preferably from your investment account, so that the money is taken from your bank account and invested automatically. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. You build your wealth automatically. For example, let me log in and show you using my Easy Equities account. So let me log in. I've already put in my username and password. Let's say you want to set up a debit order for the Satrix 40 ETF. Remember, you can invest in your ZAR or in your tax-free savings account, which is the TFSA, but I'm going to show you using Easy Equities ZAR. Under Select Investment Type, click ETFs, and if you scroll, here is Top 40. So you click on Satrix 40, which is a basket of the 40 largest companies in South Africa. Then you click here where it says recurring. And this page opens up. It says add recurring investment. You have selected to add Satrix 40 ETF. Recurring investment amount. This is how much you're going to be investing every month into Satrix 40, and it's up to you. 500 Rand, 1,000 bucks, or more than that, whatever it is. So let's say you want to invest 1,000 Rand into Satrix 40 every month, where it says annual increase percentage. Do you want this amount to be increased every year by a certain percentage, like 10% or 5 or none? You specify. Then it says choose a charges option. Does the amount exclude transaction fees? This is a bad idea. Choose the second one. It says this amount is inclusive of transaction fees. So guys, whenever you are buying shares or ETFs, there are transaction costs involved. So just include it in the amount. Choose a payment method to fund your recurring investment. Okay, so let's choose debit order from bank. Then when do you want the payments to occur? Monthly or quarterly or just once annually? You can select monthly and then choose a day when you want the debit order to be taken. Do you want the 1st of the month of every month, or the 15th of every month, or the 28th of every month? This is up to you. Let's choose the 1st. Okay, then it says here, please select a bank account. So remember, when you first registered with Easy Equities, you provided your banking details. So those are there on the system already. If you drop down, you will see your banking details. Then you just select. After selecting, tick, I confirm that the bank details provided are accurate and I accept terms and conditions. Then you can continue until the end. You can repeat the process for your other ETFs like your MSCI World, MSCI Emerging Markets, Core Shares Total World, for example. And guys, that's how you become an automatic investor. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something that will help you with your own investing journey. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as well. Also, if you are brand new to investing, completely new, and you need step-by-step guidance with investing, you can get copies of my ebooks for beginner investors from my online store. Please see the link to my online store in the description and the comment section below. Also, if you have any questions, any comments, please type them in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Until next time, bye guys.